Përshëndetje, unë jam Gazmen Sylla. Pëlqej që veten ta prezantoj si gazetar. Në këtë rast jam një gazetar që realizoj një intervistë të rrallë për Kosova Press me dy mysafirë të jashtëzakonshëm, dy ambasadorë. Ambasadorin e Mbretërisë së Bashkuar në Kosovë, Jonathan Hargreaves, mirë se erdhët, dhe ambasadorin gjerman në Kosovë, Rainer Rudolf, mirë se erdhët.
Faleminderit.
Tash kjo që po bëjmë tash është një intervistë e rrallë, sepse zakonisht intervistat me ambasadorë bëhen nëpër zyret e ambasadave, bëhen nëpër zyret të mediave ku ne punojmë, bëhen nëpër salla, nëpër takime të ndryshme, por arsyeja është e veçantë pse e bëjmë në këtë vend dhe lidhet shumë me sportin. Sigurisht që e dini, kampionati botror i futbollit fillon sot dhe kjo është pikërisht arsyeja pse ne jemi në këtë vend dhe pse sot flasim për sport. Në faktikisht jo vetëm për sport. Intervista me të nderuarit mysafirët e mi është dy pjesëshe, dhe pjesa e parë do t'i kushtohet sportit, futbollit, në plus së botës, ndërsa që pjesa e dytë do t'i kushtohet zhvillimeve politike, kryesisht në Kosovë, por jo vetëm. Do të thonë të zgjerohemi pak ndoshta edhe me rajonin, edhe me globin. Sigur që ja thash është një respekt që më është bërë mua, një respekt jashtëzakonisht i madh nga dy mysafirët e mi, dhe më thënë cilët përfaqësojnë dy vende shumë të fuqishme ndërkombëtarisht, dhe më thënë si në aspektin politik, ashtu në aspektin ekonomik, ushtarak, e kështu me radhë. Sigurisht që të dyja vendet që i prezantojnë edhe ambasadori gjerman Rudolf, edhe ambasadori britanik, i cili në këtë rast përfaqëson Anglinë dhe Skocinë, përfaqësojnë pra edhe dy kombëtarët cilat kanë një rol jashtëzakonisht madh edhe në futboll. Kupa e botës fillon sonte dhe pjesën e parë të intervistës pra fillojmë me këtë pjesë. What do you expect from the World Cup starting tonight, and what World Cup means to you personally and to your nations, to your people? We're starting with you.
Thanks for having us, and happy World Cup month for whatever it is to you and all your viewers. It's great to be doing this with my friend Rainer because for England, what the World Cup often means to us is many years of thinking back to the day in 1966 when we wore these shirts and we were able to beat Germany.
Oh yeah.
And we talk about very little else in England, I must say. But what I should add is that since that day, Germany's won the World Cup 3 times and England hasn't been in a final. So that's why we keep on going on about it. I should also say, as you rightly said, it's fantastic that Scotland are also in this tournament for the first time for a couple of decades. And it's always a great party when there are Scotland fans there.
It would be more great if Kosovo would be there. You know, we missed for, as we say, per pak, joining the World Cup. Mr. Rudolf, for you, what does a World Cup mean? And for Germany and for Germans, your Mannschaft is quite successful historically. So,
well, but if you speak of historic success, you have to go back quite a way, because as we all know, in the last 2 World Championships, German team didn't make it past the first round. So I'm hopeful that it will be different this time. But since you asked about the historic meaning, yes, we similarly have certain national memories going back very far. You know, every kid in Germany until today will be able to tell you what happened in 1954, just a few years after World War II, when we won the World Championship against Hungary at the time. The movie was made of that just 10, 15 years or so ago. Or for my generation, a huge experience was when we won the World Championship in 1990, which was an extremely important year for us. It was, you know, the Berlin Wall had come down, German unification was about to happen, and winning the World Championship, I happened to be at Berlin as a student that year. It's like a national memory. So yes, absolutely. It is connected to our story as a nation, I think.
So in both of your countries, you have like coffees like this, people going and watching games and having fun. And is that what happens usually during the World Cup time?
Well, I hear that the owners of the pubs in the UK are very excited about the next few weeks. because they're allowed to open their pubs all night because of the timings of the games. So they're hoping to make a lot of money because people love to go out and watch in the pubs. It's become a kind of national tradition. So I think there'll be plenty of that, and there'll be some happy pub owners.
Do they raise prices of beers during this time?
Honestly, the beers are already so expensive in London that I don't think it's possible to make them higher.
And you have a lot of beers, you know. What is?
Can I just add? I think it's very similar vibes in all across Germany. In summer, you know, you will have people going out, hopefully after work, watch the matches on large TV screens out in a beer garden. People in their offices will ask their bosses if they can leave maybe half an hour early to be there in time to secure a seat. So absolutely, it's very much a public thing in Germany.
So what do you expect from your Mannschaft? Going to finals, winning the trophy, or experiencing what happened in the last World Cups?
Well, what I hope is that they will make it past the group phase this time. As I said, I'm cautious with any kind of prediction. And of course, I mean, there are a number of really strong teams in the tournaments, including, I think, England. So I root for them, but I wait with any predictions.
Is it coming home this year or not?
I think every time we say it's coming home for England, we damn it and give ourselves a curse. So we shall see. I hope England does really well. I really hope that Scotland does brilliantly in matches against Morocco and Haiti and Brazil, and if Scotland can get to the into the next round, that would already be a fantastic moment.
And can I say that Jonathan is really at an advantage here because he has two
I've
teams
got
in the
two
tournament
teams.
to root for. So who can compete with that?
So if it happens to have England and Scotland playing each other, who do you cheer for?
Well, I am born in England.
Are you going to wear a shirt like this, half of it in
It's going to be. Someone was trying to work out what the odds are of England playing Scotland in this tournament, but because there are 42 teams and so many permutations, I think even AI couldn't work out how likely it is. So, if we both get far enough to play somebody else beyond the initial group, then we'll be very happy.
On this. How shall I don't want to say split loyalty, but the loyalty tension there. I can tell you my personal anecdote. When I was a kid that size, with my family, we lived in Hungary, and there was a match I was from West Germany, and there was a match at the time of the East German team, GDR, playing Hungary. And as a kid, I was honestly confused which team, and we were in the stadium, and I was honestly confused which team to root for. And my parents would tell me, yeah, but you know, the East Germans, they're Germans, you're for them, you have to root for them. And I was living in Hungary, and I felt, well, I'm more feeling rooting for the Hungarian team, so it can be difficult at times. Not this year.
And so we had a case when Kosovo played Albania here a few years ago, and people were, you know, are they Kosovars? Are they Albanians? So it's very interesting. There are a lot of Kosovars that cheer for Albania and not for Kosovo, and there are a lot of them who do the opposite side. Anyway, do you think that the best player are in the national team according to?
You mean, did our manager make the right selection
Yes,
for England?
Yes. Is there anyone that it's not there and you would
Well,
like to have him in the squad?
I'm a West Ham fan for my sins.
Are there West Ham players? Any of them?
We claim Declan Rice because he was brought up by West Ham, but we'll miss Jared Bowen. But I think the German manager that England have is a very wise man, and I'm sure he would have made really, really good decisions. So there's another split loyalty because it's great that we've been coached by a German manager because it turns out Germans really know how to win football games.
And as you know, one on our teams, Emel Mushala, grew up in England essentially, and then learned playing football there. So,
Whom you consider to be the best player in your national squad? And what is the player you expect most of this year?
well, I think who's really going to play an important role, probably as always, is the goalie Manuel Neuer. Well, I don't have the latest news. I'm not sure if he'll be able to play on Sunday. He had some health issues last couple of weeks. I think he's by far the most experienced player in our team, if I look at the team correctly. And yeah, so I think he'll play an important role.
Is it Rice, Bellingham, or Kane?
For me, Declan Rice.
Declan Rice.
But Kane has done very well in Germany this season, it must be said.
For his German team.
We used to get, somehow accommodated with the ideas that the two best players in the world do not come from England or Scotland or Germany, like they are from Argentina, Messi, and from Portugal, Ronaldo. Why your countries were not able to produce that caliber of player for such a long time? Kane is, it's very good. Neuer is very good, but they never went to become legends as these two players became. What it takes, England, we used to call it the home of football. And it went a long time since they had a player to be announced the best in the world.
I think like Germany, England have had some amazing players over the years, all the way back to this era with Bobby Moore and Bobby Charlton. But more recently, obviously, we've had Gary Lineker and Wayne Rooney and Gerrard and Lampard. We've had some amazing players, as have Scotland actually over the years, of really top quality. So we've all heard of Messi and Ronaldo, but these are other players that, for me, watching football a lot over the last 2 or 3 decades, have really made me love the game.
Yeah, and I think, we could dig out quite a number of big German names in German football, going back all the way to Franz Beckenbauer and Gerd Müller, and much more recently. I mentioned Neuer already. But, ultimately, I won't get into the Messi-Ronaldo rivalry. But, ultimately, to me, football is a team sport also. And, in German football folklore, the saying goes, the German team is a tournament team. They gain and grow in each tournament, and we'll see this year if there's any truth in that this year. But I think that's the important aspect of football to me, frankly, beyond the star power of individuals. As much as I admire what they, how they play.
Germany in the finals, yes or no?
Yes.
England in the finals and Scotland in the quarterfinals?
England or Scotland in the final would do me very nicely. Thank you very much.
There's an interesting fact about the prices of the tickets for this World Cup. They are too expensive. If it were to have World Cup in your countries, do you think the prices will be so expensive? And why do you think it's so expensive there? Americans are not known as great fans of football. Why is that? It's too expensive. Does that harm, the idea of making possible for people going to the stadiums and watch games and have fun?
I know that people have been finding some of the costs very high, and we're in an era where costs are very high, and especially for such a massive competition which is so famous and so significant. I was listening though to some fans from Scotland and England today talking about their journey to the World Cup, and because they've been long-term supporters of England and Scotland, they're able to get tickets much more cheaply, so they're able to follow their teams all the way to the finals should that happen, because they're long-standing loyal supporters. So I think it's possible for people who are the true fans to get to the World Cup and enjoy it.
I read the news today that German players want to pay tickets for German fans who went from Germany to watch the games, because the ticket from the place they sit to a place where the game will take part, the first game, it's like $100. And usually it was like $20. So they somehow said, we are going to pay for them in order to make them possible to come and travel. Why so expensive, and why do you think that happens?
I was going to get to that point exactly. I think what is so sad to see that is not only the ticket prices that have been, reached astronomical heights, but even these costs around for travel are so high. So, when we last hosted the World Championship in 2006, with every ticket was included free local transport.
Oh.
And if you buy a Bundesliga ticket these days in many cities, it will be the same. You can just show your ticket at the bus or local train or so, and use it for that. So probably more think of total costs, not only ticket costs. And I think it has to remain an accessible sport for everyone, financially accessible.
Kosovo missed World Cup, but if it were there, what would that mean for the country, for the region, and for its international image?
It's so sad, you just scraped by so closely. Jonathan and I were both at the stadium that night, not far from here, watching the match against Turkey. And it would have been lovely to see Kosovo in the World Championship. I'm confident they'll make it in 4 years' time.
I hope to.
As Rainer said, we were both there at the Turkey game, and I think I went to all of the home World Cup matches, and I saw the team growing and growing, and with that I saw Kosovo's confidence and passion growing and growing. And as I said on the night when Kosovo narrowly failed to qualify, Kosovo's only been an independent country for 18 years with a population of 1.5 million. And to be that close from going to the World Cup at that time was an incredible achievement. So there's so much to build on, and I'm really excited for the next phase of Kosovo football.
There are few players of Kosovo playing in Bundesliga. Do you happen to watch them, to read them, to talk to them when they come here, or?
I think there are 5 right now, if I counted correctly. I don't think I've met them here yet, but I would love to when they come next time, absolutely.
There was a politician from Germany who lobbied for a friendly match between Kosovo and Germany. Does that have any chance to happen? Kosovo haven't played with Germany yet. We had 2 games with you, and we played very well, even though we lost.
Or maybe
scored 3 goals.
Well, maybe the Kosovo coach with his connections to Germany can
And
make that happen.
Kosovo is going to organize the Mediterranean Games in 4 years. And I wanted to know if your governments or embassies are trying to help somehow Kosovo Olympic Committee and Kosovo to teach them, to give them advices, to visit places and see how things can be done. There are everyday, piece of writings that we are too late. There are a lot of works to be done, 20 stadiums to be built, and they haven't started yet. Do you think it's going to happen this and this miracle, and there are not going to be any delays? And
well, I can say, I remember years ago, I mentioned the 2006 World Championship. I remember all our stadiums had to be redone, to meet the FIFA standards. And I remember seeing the Olympia Stadium in Berlin, which was completely rebuilt renovated and rebuilt for that occasion. And at the time, I did a sort of behind the scenes tour what they had done, and I can just say it's huge. It's a huge effort, it was an old stadium and bring it up to modern standards. So if we can share any of that experience, we'll be happy to do so with our Kosovo friends here.
We are fighting politically here for more than 10 years where to build a national stadium. Not whether to build it or not, where to build. And going back to this Mediterranean Games, I heard that your embassy is doing something. What is doing this sense?
Well, we were very happy to be able to host the mayor and the Minister of Sport and the chair of the Olympic Committee in London a few weeks ago. And mostly that was giving them an opportunity to see what's happened in London since 2012 when we staged the Olympics. So they spent quite a lot of time with the people who are looking after the legacy from 2012. And I think that made a big difference in showing a couple of things. One, how important it is that the government and the city and the Olympic Association are able to work together and make decisions together to get the best out of the opportunity. And secondly, that the opportunity doesn't finish in 2030 when the games happen, it starts then. What will be most important for this country, I think, is what's left behind and what kind of legacy is possible to create by having these games here. And I think that's a huge opportunity. So I know that they will be working together as much as they can to make sure that that's realised for Kosovo. It's a really big chance for this country to do some serious infrastructure, mobilise people behind it, and leave behind something that will last for a long time.
If we could build up a team, a Kosovo team from politicians, who would be a defender, according to you?
Who would be they?
Defender, I know, a goalkeeper, midfielder, and attacker.
So, here I would say it's the voters who are the coach, so to speak. The voters who decide whom they want to see where and whom they want to see playing for their country in which position. They just spoke a few days ago.
And I think you put it very rightly earlier, Rainer, when you said it's a team game, right?
Exactly.
So you can have stars, but you need people to be playing together. And that's what I'm really hoping will happen over the next few weeks.
And you do have a rule book, so to speak, for the match, which is the Constitution. So
we said, this interview will be a two-part interview. We consumed the first part with the sports, and now we are going to enter to next phase of this interview. And as we know, you mentioned last Sunday, Kosovo had a kind of competition of its own, a sort of Kosovo Cup in politics and elections. What were your impressions of that day? Both of you, I think you visited some places.
We went to Kosovo.
You were to Brzezenica also, as far as I could find. What did you see? What was the day according to you?
We were both part of this much wider group of diplomats under the guidance of the EU in this Diplo Watch team all over the country. I think the initial observations from that team are that things looked and were broadly pretty smooth. Let's face it, Kosovo is getting very, very experienced in staging elections these days. And so it's had plenty of time to practice. And from what I saw, that practice is paying off and some of the procedures are getting even better. I was also very glad to see that when we sat down to watch the results on TV, the software that the Election Commission were using worked absolutely perfectly. And I'm really pleased with the cooperation that the UK and the Electoral Commission have had on that, because since February, they've done a lot of hard work on that. And I think that's really engendered a lot of confidence in the election.
That's one of the best things that happened to the elections, totally, not only to CEC. It's great to have and see results being, proceeded second by second.
Yeah, it gives confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you?
No, I had very similar impressions. As you said, I visited some polling stations in around Gračanica, and it was calm. It was very professional. As Jonathan was saying, there was much routine, and it's good to see this process at work. I think a campaign can be exciting, but election day itself should just be routine and calm and shouldn't be exciting. But let me just say, since you called it a Kosovo Cup, my personal hope that this Kosovo Cup, like the World Championship, will only be held every 4 years.
No assurances of it.
We'll see.
So what do you expect now? We already know who is the winner, who is front runner, who is on the third place, and there is a government to be established. And what do you see next? What do you think those who won these elections have to do in the next phase?
Well, frankly, I would focus not only on the winners. Obviously, they have their democratic obligation, their mandate from this election result. But more actors than just the election winners are needed now to bring the country forward. As we know, for stable institutions, not only a government needs to be confirmed, but also a president needs to be elected. And for that, broad cooperation among the political class will be necessary. And I really hope that we will see that and that will happen. And so that will bring the country forward and enable us to work together more closely and advance the agenda we have with Kosovo.
You would like to see, but we didn't see up to now, that. What do you think? Is it going to be a change in the ways how politicians behave now after experiencing that difficult time, the previous cycle of elections and after elections?
I think it's in their hands. I think Kosovo has a very good constitution, strong constitution. It's a constitution which was deliberately designed to encourage parties to work together. It's deliberately not a win-lose situation, but a situation which encourages win-win between different political actors. So I think there's a very strong basis. Now I think it's over to the politicians, as Rainer said, to work together and make that work. And there's every possibility that they can. There's no reason why they can't find a way to do that. So, of course, I would really encourage them to do that, because I think that this country needs now, after nearly 2 years of waiting for certainty on the politics, to get on with it and to have a parliament, have a government, have a president who can govern, tackle the global issues which we're all dealing with across the world, and tackle the domestic issues which Kosovo's citizens deserve to have addressed.
Did you see any change in Mr. Kurti's policy on the speech of the winning night? He was somehow saying that, yes, we already cooperated with others. Do you believe that he will soften his stance in, when it comes to the president? He had some conditions before, like, I want a president who is not a politician. Somehow, bringing to a point where none of those who are in politics right now can become president.
Look, I'm not going to comment here on what the Prime Minister or frankly any other senior politician in Kosovo will say or will not say. What is important to me is what will actually happen in the next few weeks. Whether the solutions can be found, which it seems to me will require some forms of cooperation and also compromise, and probably also across party lines. I think this country does have so much to work for, also in cooperation with us as friends, where we simply need strong actors that represent the country, that have a mandate, and where we can work on an agenda for a longer stretch of time.
And we didn't see a kind of government that was comprised for 2 or more political parties. Is there any chance, as you see the situation, to have a kind of coalition of Mr. Kurti and others? Or it's going to be, Mr. Kurti to have his own government and do something on the president with the others, or you see a kind of coalition government formed by, let's say, Vetvendosi and Ledeke, or Vetvendosi and Përditshëm, or the 3 of them?
I think we all love discussing these various scenarios and permutations. And one thing I've discovered about this wonderful country is that everybody enjoys the conversations about who might make alliances with who. And I have to say, I love politics too, so I like following that. But I think
Kosovars love to hear from you, because you represent 2 very friendly countries to our people and to our country. They do believe that you can do something, some magics. We used to say a long time ago that internationals somehow will do something, and including Americans, they will get involved somehow and make the parties right now, it's the final time to do something, and have a government that We'll have the next elections cup in 4 years and not in the next autumn.
I don't want to disappoint you, but it's neither our job as internationals nor within our
Giving
capability
advices, at
to
least.
fix it.
We would like to see this and
And-
this to say.
I would like to see the politicians, who are all very able politicians, are very experienced people, finding the way through this situation, because I'm sure they can.
Look, I think we're here as friends, and I'm sure Jonathan would say the same. But look, in February we celebrated 18 years of independence. Kosovo is an adult now, so not leaving the home, but independent from the parents.
Interesting. And let's go to another point. Mr. Kurti was blamed from the opposition, and not only that somehow he isolated the country in the sense of international communication and in the sense of, sending Kosovo forward in integrations in its path to joining NATO and EU. From your perspective, what are your government's relations with Mr. Kurti like? And should he change anything in his approach to him to end this kind of isolation, let's say so?
No, but frankly, that's not the way I think about my country's cooperation with Kosovo, frankly. We work with the elected representatives of Kosovo as head of state, as prime minister, in any ministerial office, out of respect for the democratic process in Kosovo as an independent sovereign nation, which has brought these persons into their leadership roles. And that is how my government would approach them. And we look forward to working with a fully mandated government on the joint agenda we have.
I mean, I think Ryan has put it absolutely beautifully. I think what is also true is that whoever is governing this country has a lot of work to do over the next few years, as I said, both in terms of things that matter to Kosovo's citizens, but also in terms of things on the international scene. We have been a supporter and remain a supporter of the direction of Kosovo towards Euro-Atlantic institutions, towards the EU, towards NATO, towards the Council of Europe. Those processes require a government and a consensus politically, which require decisions, that require a lot of active negotiation, keeping up alliances with all sorts of different countries around the world. So whoever's in power, those are the things which are needed, and are needed quite urgently, I think, so that Kosovo can keep up the momentum which it's had towards those institutions in the last few years.
And there are a lot of voices saying that Kosovo's way toward joining EU is stopped due to the Kurti politics. And maybe Kurti is right sometimes when he says that, listen, I applied for in 2022 and I received no response from EU. So what can you say in this? Why is this happening? We did apply. Kosovo applied for joining Council of Europe, and it never entered there. There's something that stops Kosovo from joining at least Council of Europe, which is much easier than joining EU or NATO. So why do you think this is happening? Does Europe has to do something in this sense, like to?
Well, we are there, but it brings me to the point again, to make the case for us, to, if you like, make the case also for Kosovo with our friends who, may still have hesitations here and there. It is so much easier if we hear with one voice from Kosovo, this is what we want. This is what we're going to do. It's very difficult.
So you hear more than one voice from Kosovo?
Well, the problem is rather that since February 2025, We've been in this cycle we discussed earlier with, difficulties forming, constituting the assembly, forming a government, electing a president, 3 sets of general elections within, 18 months or so. And this is whatever else we can do. This is the first thing that has to happen in the country here.
Is everything regarding Kosovo's European path conditioned by the dialogue with Serbia? What do you think?
I must defer to my colleague who's a member of the European Union to answer that question.
Let me put it this way. Progress in the dialogue with Belgrade has to be made in one way or another, also for progress towards the European Union. But let me say, this is equally true for Serbia.
And Mr. Kurti always says, because this is very important issue here, a dialogue with Serbia and settling this issue once and forever, so we can go our way and Serbia goes its own way. But Mr. Kurti, I do believe that things that Kosovo is somehow conditioned by Serbia, because, as he said, I did agree for this Brussels agreement and for Ohrid Annex, and Mr. Vučić agreed to, but he never managed to put his own, how to say,
Signature.
Signature. Why this is happening? Why Europe doesn't push? If Europe really wants Vučić and Kosovo in EU and join European family, why Europe is not pushing a bit harder to Serbia to, or Vučić maybe, to sign his kind of agreement and settle forever with Kosovo?
Who says we're not pushing?
Well, it's almost 3 years that he said that I do accept this, but he's not signing it. So there is always an extra time in Kosovo-Serbia dialogue. It never ends,
No,
It started like 15 years ago, and
No, I'll give a serious answer, but I'm not happy with all the time that has been lost since whenever you want to count, since 2003, when essentially accession was given as a perspective to the entire region. But I think what is important to see here, that right now there really is momentum for EU enlargement. Montenegro, they're negotiating their accession treaty. Albania may follow. So I think there has been movement on this file in a way there probably hasn't been for a long while. And I would just urge those responsible in Kosovo to jump on that momentum and use it, and not look back, everything that wasn't successful since 2008, but rather look at where are we now and how can we use this momentum and use it for the advantage of Kosovo.
anything to say from...
I would only say 2 things. One, to echo Rainer's point, there are countries that look as though they're making pretty good progress towards the European Union, and I think that Kosovo doesn't want to get left behind. And I think as I said earlier, there's got a lot of work to do, not just in the dialogue with Serbia actually, but also on lots of kind of domestic arrangements and legislation and standards and so on. And secondly, those are things that Kosovo can do, and only Kosovo can do. So you can keep on looking over the fence and seeing what the other guy is doing, but actually what you can control is what you're doing in your own country and the work which you yourself are doing to give yourself the best possible opportunity to make progress. And that's what I would recommend that all our friends here in Kosovo really focus on, because I think those are the things that are definitely within Kosovo's control.
Speaking of Kosovo's control, can I just add one small example? Maybe you know that,
Of course, yes.
at the end of this month, funding from the European Union is at risk of being lost for Kosovo, simply because certain goals and benchmarks that were agreed will not be met. They can't be met because Parliament would be needed for that. And if that happens, we're talking about 2 weeks from now, it would mean that substantial amounts of money would be lost for Kosovo. But it's also, of course, frankly, a signal, about the the cooperation, the way Kosovo is going into this cooperation. And this has nothing to do with the membership application or the Belgrade dialogue. This is frankly work that could be done here in Kosovo.
And going to advices, do you advise Kosovo to establish association in municipalities, Serbian majority?
Well,
is it time for it?
as you know,
or the time has passed?
Kosovo has made commitments, particularly in Brussels and Ohrid, which are particularly about some sort of really meaningful self-governance for Serb-majority municipalities. I'm sure that there are many ways in which that particular cake can be cut. I think what's really important is that Kosovo fulfills those commitments, comes forward with proposals. If it doesn't like the ones that it's seen before, there's an opportunity to come forward with proposals which meet the commitments which it has already signed up to, and have a discussion about those. So I think both in spirit and in detail, there's every opportunity for Kosovo to move on with that in some way. But I think it's really important that that happens, because without that, I think it's going to be difficult for the whole process to move on. And as Lajme was saying, it's also the kind of thing that can really give confidence to Kosovo's friends who are fully behind the progress that we want to see. And we are Kosovo's friends, and we want to help it to move forward with these processes and making some progress on some sort of association, some form of self-governance, the kind of thing that can give us real confidence that we can come in behind something.
And Mr. Kurti did a lot of works in the north, and he was criticized by different world centers for doing that, in the sense of dinar, of license plates, and post offices, and some other things. And both of you had chances to go to the north after what happened after this. Do you think that the north is a bit stabilized after this, or is it better? Is it more secure? Is it more safe to go there? And do people really think that, especially with Serbs, that life became easier or harder for them after these actions and decisions made from the government in the past 3 years?
So I did my first tour to the north at the beginning of this year, just when the newly elected mayors had taken office. And first, you know, it was good to see that the transfer of power in all 4 municipalities in the north had taken place in a very calm and professional way. Having said that, you know, nobody disputes that Kosovo law is applicable in the whole territory of Kosovo. That's beyond question. The only thing I think is important to us is that the way this happens, you know, given the historic background, is in such a way that it doesn't negatively impact simply the everyday lives of people. That is why we were engaged at the beginning of this year when we were talking about the application of the law on foreigners. And we were happy, you know, to see the agreement concluded between the Prime Minister and the EU Special Representative Vita Sørensen. That was our spirit in which we were supporting that work.
What is London's point of view on this?
Very similar. I mean, first of all, I want to pay tribute to the work that Peter Sørensen and his team do generally, but also specifically did in coming to an arrangement on the 14th of March for the implementation of the law on foreigners, because as Rana says, that is a very important opportunity for Kosovo to have the rule of law all over the country applied, but in a way which doesn't disadvantage disproportionately people who, for one reason or another, have found it difficult to be able to fulfill those conditions. So the fact that they now have that opportunity is really important, and it's really important, I think, that the government follows through on the commitments which they made on the 14th of March. Yeah. I think more generally, there's also an opportunity, seems to me, and it seems to me to be majorly in the interests of everybody in Kosovo, that all of the different non-majority communities who make up the population of this country feel safe, feel wanted, feel comfortable, feel they want to be part of the future of this fantastic country that is Kosovo.
Do you really think that Serbs from the north really want this?
I'm not going to speak for them, but I do think that...
But you talk to them, you meet them.
I do.
You hear them.
I do. I think, like most of us, what they want is to have a good education, to have good access to healthcare, to have good employment and economic opportunities, to have safe places for their families to live. I think they live in Kosovo, and that's the thing that they are mainly looking for. And I think it's very much in Kosovo's interests if one way or another it's possible to make them feel confident that that's the kind of life they can live in this country.
Going again to this association, Mr. Kurti said in an interview before the elections that he is going to condition signing and creating of this association with the handler of Mr. Radojicic from Serbia. What do you think on this? Is there any possibility to have Mr. Radojicic delivered by Serbia to Kosovo for what he has done to Bajska? And should Serbia do that?
Well, as I recall, the conditionality was a bit different, but never mind that. I mean, what is clearly important for us, and we have, publicly said this, it is important that those who are responsible for the unrest at the time, including Mr. Radojicic, are brought to justice.
Radojicic has to be here or not?
He needs to be brought to justice, and we make this point very frequently, and it's very clear that that is what we're asking the Serbian authorities to provide.
We are approaching to 1 hour
kickoff time.
Kickoff time, but that always is extra time, I thought that extra time is going to be much extra than
we don't want to miss the match.
Only 2 more questions, or 3 questions maybe. If you were to give Kosovo a yellow card and a green card, what would each be for?
I would give Kosovo a green card for the beauty of its mountains and its natural environment, and I'd give it a yellow card for not yet managing to conserve that beauty and those natural resources.
Any red cards?
I hope not, because I'm here to stay, and and I love being here.
And I would add another green card for Kosovo's hospitality, which is really amazing.
And what would you consider to be Kosovo's biggest goal, let's say so, recent years, and what has been its biggest own goal?
You mean its biggest achievement?
Yeah.
I think the fact that, as we were saying earlier, this remains, it's a very young democracy, and sometimes it's difficult to remember quite how young. I first came here in 2001, and the place is completely different from the place I saw then. And I think maybe people who have lived through all of that period sometimes find it hard to remember quite how far the country has come, and that's a huge achievement. And what we are here for as Kosovo's friends is to work with Kosovo and everybody in different parts of society to make sure that that pace and momentum continues. We need Kosovo as part of our group of allies and friends internationally, and that's what we're here to try to support and work with everybody to achieve.
Goal and own goals, according to...
No, I agree on the old goal, on the goal, the experiencing here this vibrant, functioning democracy, even with maybe very many elections recently, is amazing to watch, really. And I mean, let's not lose sight of you know, how important it is to have this working on Monday after the election. You know, some people may have been happy, happier than others. Some may have been unhappy. Nobody disputed the outcome of the election. I mean, that is so important. And that is really something Kosovo can be proud of. And as I said earlier, we are there to continue our support all the way.
Going back to what you said, one of Kosovo's politicians in this campaign said that when I took the power, I found Kosovo as in a basement, like half full with water, in the sense of not being good. Any comment on that?
As I said, I think the story of Kosovo over the last 25 years, 27 years, and tomorrow we will be marking the day in 1999 when NATO forces first came to relieve Kosovo of the terrible humanitarian situation it was in. I think it's a small miracle that Kosovo has moved as far and fast as it has over that period of time. All I hope is that that continues along the same trajectory, and that's what we're here as friends to support.
Half full basement?
In German, we say the glass is half full, and I would say Kosovo's glass is 4/5 full.
I really last questions. Last question, in fact.
Injury time.
In the coming weeks, there is a very important decision to be made about Kosovo, and that is on Kosovo's Specialist Chamber's decision. If those who are accused there will be guilty, do you believe that Kosovo might be in security troubles in a way, like protests and a situation which
My view is
need,
that
more, let's say, how to say that, not a danger, but problems.
well, my view is that it was much to Kosovo's credit that the institutions agreed to establish those Kosovo special chambers, because it was a real demonstration of the fact that this country wants to make sure that all crimes are properly investigated and brought to justice wherever they were committed and whoever they were committed by. So I think the really important thing is that we continue in that spirit, and that when there is a verdict from the court, that is respected and fully implemented, because I think that has been a real strength for Kosovo over the last few years, and I think it can continue to be.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I think it is, I share Jonathan's view that the establishment of the court itself at the time was really a strength of the country and its institutions, and whatever the verdict, frankly, will be, I just hope that everyone will be able to accept it as the verdict of an independent court under the law of Kosovo.
Well, distinguished ambassadors, thanks a lot for this interview. It was a quite unique opportunity for me, and quite unique format of the interview. So I think people will like it, and hope your teams will go high in this World Cup. And maybe
Both of my teams.
All three teams.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
Gzua.
Prost. Cheers. Prost. Cheers.
I have nothing left in this.
Cheers. Prost. Cheers.
Të nderuar shikues, kjo ishte intervista me ambasadorët nga Britania e Madhe, Jonathan Harris, dhe nga Gjermania, Rainer Rudolf. Shihemi në rastet tjera. Faleminderit.